We are starting our meeting, and in India, you are welcome, and everybody is welcome in this meeting. I'm now presenting our opening remarks. Deputy Ministers and Special Envoys for the MENA region, Head of the Senior Officials Meeting, BRICS delegates, members of the media, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to chair the 9th BRICS Middle East and North Africa Region Deputy Ministers and Special Envoy meeting. This is our first in-person hybrid meeting since 2019. On that note, I want to extend a warm welcome to you and hope that you enjoy your stay in Cape Town, albeit so short. I am excited and hopeful for positive deliberation and the adoption of our joint outcome statement on the MENA region today. I want to thank our senior officials and technical experts for their hard work in bringing us to this point today of adopting our BRICS joint outcome statement on the MENA region. Colleagues, we meet at a time of a significant global, continental, and regional challenges, which includes, amongst others, food security, energy security, climate change, conflict, and instability. The MENA region experienced most of them. Equally, the MENA region is a region of great diversity and opportunity comprising of different countries, cultures, religion, and natural resources. Excellencies, one of the biggest challenges in the MENA remains the issue of violent extremists, terrorism, and armed conflict through both traditional and non-traditional, asymmetric, and non-lined warfare. The rise of violent extremist terrorism groups over the past decade, such as ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and AQIM, amongst others, has caused great damage to the region and beyond. To this end, we as BRICS must condemn terrorism and violent extremists conducive to terrorism and adopt a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism. We must also acknowledge the work done by various institutions and countries to fight terrorism. In this regard, we commend our fellow BRICS partner, India, for hosting the special session of the Counter-Terrorism Committee of the United Nations Security Council in Mumbai and Delhi in October last year. We furthermore welcome the Delhi Declaration on countering the use of emerging technologies for terrorist purposes at the special session of the CTC of the United Nations Security Council. Colleagues, there seems to be a quiet but incriminated geopolitical change taking place in the Middle East right now. First, the region is entering a new phase of power relation with the resumption of diplomatic relation between Saudi Arabia and Iran. This was facilitated by the People's Republic of China on the 10th of March 2023 in Beijing, with the results of a joint statement being concluded on the 6th of April 2023. We warmly welcome this agreement between Saudi Arabia and Iran to reopen their embassies and missions in the next 2 months. We maintain that with rapprochement between those two countries, there will never be complete peace, stability, and development in the region. We equally welcome and are proud of the role played by our fellow BRICS member, the People's Republic of China, as well as the role played by Oman and Iraq in the mediation and facilitation of this agreement. Secondly, another development in the region which we should welcome took place in April this year, when the Saudi Arab Foreign Minister Faisal bin Fahad al-Saad met with Syrian President Bashar. The visit was designed to find a political solution to Syrian civil war and the normalization of Saudi-Syrian relations. Excellencies, the year 2023 marks the 75th anniversary of the 1948 Nakba that led to the occupation and displacement of Palestinians from their homelands. Since 1948, the Palestinian people have been subjected to countless injustice and an ongoing cycle of destruction, displacement, dispossessions, and progressive fragmentation of their territory. In this regard, we reiterate our support for the just cause of the Palestinian people to restore their legitimate right, including but not limited to their right to self-determination. The question of Palestine must be resolved through direct negotiations based on the UN resolution, international law, and internationally agreed parameters. Colleagues, BRICS must continue to prioritize regional and continental peace and stability, security and development as the main component towards contributing to a peaceful and just global order. In this regard, we should support the need to achieve an enduring and mutually acceptable political solution to the question of Western Sahara in accordance with the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. We must express our support to the full implementation of the UN mission for the referendum in the Western Sahara. Excellencies, in conclusion, the importance of addressing conflict and security concerns through dialogue and conclusive consultation in coordinated and cooperative manner is a sine qua non for a peaceful, secure, and stable Middle East and North Africa. As a BRICS collective, let us reaffirm our commitment to the basic principle of building peace, security, and stability in the MENA region. I thank you. Thank you very much, colleagues. At this point in time, I will give to Brazil to give their opening remarks for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Over to you, Brazil.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Minister. Let me thank you, Deputy Minister Mashego-Dlamini and the government of South Africa for hosting in this meeting and for its hospitality. On behalf of the Brazilian government, I am honored to join the meeting of the BRICS Deputy Ministers and Special Envoys on the Middle East and North Africa today, and I greet all of you. Let me express that we look forward to a productive exchange of views and a session today. This meeting offers us an invaluable opportunity to share our views on important topics concerning international politics, peace, and security. I am confident we are going to have a fruitful discussion. BRICS is an important platform for positive change in the international system. The bloc has many economic, demographic, and territorial strengths. The Brazilian government appreciates the pragmatic, constructive, and balanced approach that the BRICS countries seek to keep in the face of an increasingly complex world. Despite having different stances on various topics of the international agenda, our diplomacies are capable of proposing alternatives and being part of solutions. In the MENA region, the BRICS countries can make an important contribution to foster a regional environment conducive to stability. This creates better conditions for the region to translate its resources and mostly young demographics into dynamic, prosperous, and diverse societies, fully integrated in positive economic trends and in a cooperative international environment. During its current mandate as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, Brazil has engaged actively in all discussions relating to the Middle Eastern and North African files, which draw a significant portion of the Council's attention, as we all know. It is our firm belief that, at the multilateral level, Brazil and other BRICS members can play a constructive role in the quest for peace and stability in the MENA region. With this in mind, Brazil has acted since the beginning of 2023 as a facilitator of the discussions on the Syrian humanitarian file in the Security Council. In the recent past, disregard for the principles of pacific settlement of disputes and for basic norms of international law, including international humanitarian law, have increased instability and made room for the spread of terrorism and proxy wars with negative, often terrible consequences for the populations in the region. On the one hand, the situation in the Middle East and North Africa continues to pose serious political and social challenges to the stability of the region, which in some instances threaten international peace and security. The escalation of violence in Sudan, as we will see more deeply later, is the most recent of these challenges. On the other hand, however, recently the region has seen positive developments that point to a brighter and more prosperous future for the populations of the Middle East. In this regard, the normalization agreement between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic Republic of Iran, due to the commendable efforts of China as well as Iraq and Oman, are to be highlighted. By the same token, Brazil perceives in a positive light the recent steps taken by MENA countries to reintegrate Syria in the regional context. Brazil is particularly concerned with the 15.7 million refugees in the MENA countries. This is a staggering number of people, which continue to face economic, political, and security challenges. They lack basic services and rely on international support to meet their needs. The Syria crisis remains one of the largest displacement catastrophes in the world. After 12 years of conflict, Syrian refugees have the highest resettlement needs globally, posing a critical challenge to the international community. In Yemen, more than 11 million children are in need of one or more forms of humanitarian assistance, such as access to safe water, sanitation, etc. In this context, the BRICS can be a source of economic development through trade, technical cooperation, and investments, and a partner to MENA countries on building stronger institutions. At this introductory stage, I would like to stress that today it is even more imperative to reaffirm our commitment to core principles such as the respect for humanitarian law as the central role of the United Nations in matters of international peace and security, and to political and diplomatic efforts for the pacific settlement of disputes. Having different historical, political, and cultural backgrounds, it is natural that our countries do not share the exact same views on all complex issues concerning the MENA region. We recognize these differences with a pragmatic spirit, and we are aware that there may be limits for consensus. Let me also take this opportunity to thank our hosts again today, in the person of Deputy Minister Candith Mashego-Dlamini, and also the South African government for hosting and organizing this successful meeting edition of the MENA BRICS. Thank you very much.
The opening remarks from the Deputy Minister Bogdanov from Russia.
If you don't mind, I will speak Russian. Okay? Уважаемые коллеги, искренне рад приветствовать всех вас на ежегодной встрече заместителей министров иностранных дел, спецпредставителей стран БРИКС по проблематике Ближнего Востока и Северной Африки. Благодарю нашего председателя, заместителя министра международных отношений и сотрудничества Южноафриканской Республики, госпожи Машего-Дламини, за превосходную организацию этого мероприятия и гостеприимство. Пользуясь случаем, хотел бы поздравить наших южноафриканских друзей с национальным праздником, Днем Свободы, который будет отмечаться завтра, и пожелать дальнейших успехов и благополучия вашей дружественной стране. Очень рад также пообщаться с коллегами из Китая, Индии, Бразилии Учитывая остроту проблем Ближнего Востока и Северной Африки и их влияние на глобальную обстановку, думаю, что наши сегодняшние консультации являются важным этапом подготовки к предстоящей министерской встрече БРИКС 1-2 июня здесь, в Кейптауне, и к саммиту БРИКС, который состоится 22-24 августа в провинции Гуатенг. Прежде всего, хочу подчеркнуть, что мы высоко ценим координацию в рамках нашего объединения. «Пятерка» заслуженно превратилась во влиятельный фактор международных отношений. Укрепление потенциала и повышение роли БРИКС значится среди приоритетных направлений новой концепции внешней политики, утвержденной президентом Российской Федерации 31 марта этого года. С удовлетворением отмечаем близость наших позиций по наиболее острым вопросам ближневосточной повестки дня. Считаю, что коллективные усилия БРИКС по поиску развязок многочисленных проблем региона на основе норм международного права и устава ООН становятся все более актуальными и востребованными на фоне попыток внедрить так называемый порядок, основанный на правилах. Со своей стороны Россия, ЮАР, Бразилия, Индия, Китай продвигают идеи построения справедливого миропорядка на базе подлинной многосторонности, неукоснительного соблюдения принципов взаимного уважения и невмешательства во внутренние дела суверенных государств, их право самостоятельного выбора собственного пути развития. Именно с таких позиций мы демонстрируем наше стремление активного содействия формированию в регионе Ближнего Востока и Северной Африки устойчивой, всеобъемлющей архитектуры безопасности и сотрудничества на основе объединительной, конструктивной повестки и отказа от идеологии конфронтации и силового решения конфликтных ситуаций и международных споров. Приветствуем достигнутые 10 марта текущего года при китайском посредничестве договоренности о нормализации отношений между Ираном и Саудовской Аравией, в рамках реализации которых 6 апреля в Пекине состоялась встреча министров иностранных дел этих стран. Работа на данном направлении велась с целым рядом стран, в том числе и России, которая активно взаимодействовала и с Риадом, и с Тегераном, и предлагала свою площадку для переговоров. Тем не менее, это удалось сделать нашим китайским друзьям. Этот прорыв заслуживает нашего уважения и поддержки, поскольку, как мы считаем, успех любого из участников нашего объединения является успехом БРИКС в целом. Уверены, что дальнейшее сближение Тегерана и Риада будет способствовать снижению напряженности вокруг целого ряда региональных горячих точек, укреплению стабильности и безопасности на всем пространстве Ближнего Востока и Северной Африки. Есть подвижки в вопросе восстановления связи между Сирией и Саудовской Аравией. Здесь действительно Россия тоже прилагала очень серьезные усилия. И, как вы знаете, недавно в Риаде впервые с начала кризиса в Сирии побывал министр иностранных дел Сирийской Арабской Республики Фейсал Мигдад, а недавно в Дамаске побывал министр иностранных дел Королевства Саудовской Аравии Фейсал бен Фархан. Сегодняшняя наша встреча позволит сверить часы по актуальным проблемам арабского мира. В первую очередь это касается ситуации в Сирии, Ираке, Ливии, Йемене. Важно дать оценку нынешним драматическим событиям в Судане и направить противоборствующим в Судане сторонам ясный сигнал о необходимости скорейшего прекращения боевых действий и перехода к диалогу. Следует проанализировать последние позитивные подвижки в зоне Персидского залива и возможные пути сопряжения наших усилий на основе национальных инициатив в данной сфере для поддержки арабов и иранцев в их стремлении двигаться по пути дальнейшего оздоровления региональной обстановки. Вновь благодарю всех коллег за возможность встретиться здесь, в Кейптауне, и поблагодарить еще раз за гостеприимство наших южноафриканских друзей. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Excellency. We are now calling upon Dr. Rajpal Rahit from India to give the opening remarks.
Hope I am audible. Right. Very good morning to all the colleagues. We especially thanks Her Excellency the Deputy Minister of South Africa, Ms. Candith, and their team for organizing the BRICS MENA conference, and also the other colleagues from China, Russia, Brazil, for being part of this negotiation process and this very important discussion on this region. We also congratulate South Africa on their National Freedom Day, which is tomorrow, 27th of April. Excellencies, as you would have observed, we have been trying to join the meeting in physical format. Wanted to be with you all along, but the circumstances here are extraordinary, and therefore we are today in virtually we are discussing with you, we are joining with you in this important meeting. As we speak, the world is undergoing very rapid transformation, and it appears that these changes are rather brisk in the WANA region, what we call West Asia and North Africa region. It remains the new maker and a catalyst for political and security upheavals in the large part of the globe. While the pandemic seems to have been overcome more or less, but the prospects of future has been dimmed by persistent challenges of conflicts, terrorism, geopolitical tensions, economic downturns, natural disasters, and pervasive challenges in access to essential commodities such as food and energy. As we speak, we have been deeply involved in the Operation Kaveri in Sudan, where we have almost 3,000 Indian nationals stuck due to the civil conflict which has arisen out of a sudden. And what we have observed is that the food prices have gone up, the transportation costs have gone up. Suddenly it has become a crisis for not only our people, but these are the implications and ramifications of conflict in the region. There has been civilian and military transition process going on there. There has been churning going on, and not only in Sudan, but we see that a similar kind of trend in some other countries in the region. The new conflict brings a new conflict is homelessness. The regional conflicts continue to prolong due to their complex nature, competitive geopolitics, and the failure of international community, including the multilateral system, to adequately support the leadership and people in building mutual trust. The poor economic and political conditions that sparked the public outrage in the region have worsened, driving the recent return of large-scale protests across the region, including in countries that were previously spared. We have seen the ramification and implications of the Arab Spring and subsequent developments. The security landscape continued to grow more complicated and fragmented, with rising number of state and non-state actors deploying and using unmanned weapons, including aerial systems. The sectarian and divisive policies, unresolved conflicts resulting in mass displacement, coupled with feelings of resentment due to growing discrimination, have combined to create a breeding ground for violent extremism and terrorism. Terrorism is a global and transitional phenomenon which needs to be addressed through effective cooperation. But the year also marks the forging of new relationships and the new dynamics in the region, which we believe is a glimmer of hope and has the tenacity to deliver on the aspirations of the people for peace and development. We see the warming of the relationship between Israel and some of the Arab countries in the aftermath of the Abraham Accords as a welcome development for the region. We have seen the other dynamics, various rapprochements coming up, including bringing back Syria back to the fold of the Arab League and other regional organizations as a welcome development. For India, the region is very, very important due to our dependence on energy, more than 65%, a large diaspora population of more than 9 million in the region, substantial remittances and trade to the tune of more than 160 billion. So anything which brings peace and stability to the region is indeed a welcome development from our side. We truly believe that while main responsibility for the peace of the region depends upon its own people and its own leaders for the region, but the synergy between the BRICS countries through this particular platform of BRICS and MENA will send across a message to the countries in the region that we stand with them while pursuing the ideals of effective multilateralism, global peace and security, zero tolerance toward terrorism in its all forms and manifestations, and necessity to stand against unilateral actions or decisions. I thank you, Excellency, for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Ambassador Yong from China.
Your Excellency, Deputy Minister Dlamini of South Africa, colleagues, it's my great pleasure to join you in the beautiful city of Cape Town. In over 3 years, it is the first time that we hold this offline consultation once again. I'd like to thank the Department of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa for its collaboration and thoughtful arrangements. The Chinese side attaches great importance to strengthening coordination and communication with BRICS countries, and we expect full success of this consultation to make contribution for the success of the Foreign Ministers meeting of BRICS countries. Tomorrow will be the Freedom Day. On behalf of the government and people of China, I would like to extend my festive greetings to the government and people of South Africa. Dear colleagues, as we speak, the changes of the world, the times and history are unfolding like never before. Middle East region is also undergoing new and profound changes. On the one hand, peace, development and anti-interference have become aspirational people in that region. Strategic autonomy of that region is increasing. The aspiration and capability for determining one's own security and development is being further enhanced. The consensus of promoting development through cooperation, pursuing security and dialogue have been further deepened. The Beijing dialogue between Saudi Arabia and Iran has drove the wave of reconciliation of that region and opened a pathway for realizing peace and stability in the region and offered opportunities for resolving hotspot issues in Yemen. On the other hand, regional countries are still confronting with prominent difficulties in development and security. Some countries outside the region clinging to its old mentality and hegemonic bullying and high-hand practices create troubles and provocate block confrontation in that region. Recently, hotspot issues such as Palestine, Israel, and Sudan have been escalating, and international food and energy crisis still deal a heavy blow to regional economic livelihood and social stability.
中国坚定支持中东国家团结协作解决地区安全问题，支持中东人民独立自主探索自身发展道路，将继续做中东安全稳定的促进者，繁荣的合作者，团结自强的推动者。中方主张，国际社会应当遵守联合国宪章宗旨和国际关系基本准则，尊重地区国家主权和领土完整，尊重中东国家意愿和选择，不能居高临下干涉地区国家内政，应当鼓励地区国家通过对话协商寻找符合地区实际、兼顾各方利益的热点问题解决方案，践行真正的多边主义，不能动辄搞单边霸凌和极限施压，应当倡导包容互鉴、文明对话，尊重地区历史文化传统，不能散播文明冲突论和伊斯兰恐惧症，应当坚持发展和安全并重，向地区国家提供更多发展支持，帮助地区国家应对粮食和能源安全挑战，合力打击恐怖主义不放松，为促进中东发展和安全稳定注入正能量。
and inject positive energy to peace and stability in the region. Thank you.